Today, you completed your energy leadership index debrief and the coaching session we had along with it. And I'm sharing this video with you today because I realize there's a lot of information I threw at you. So while you've got the extra handouts and the resources, I wanted to share this video with you just to give you another brief overview about what we talked about, as well as dig into a little bit more about the advantages and disadvantages to each of the energy levels, which we may not have had a full opportunity to go through during your session today. Now, don't worry, this was not a one-off. We are going to continue to come back to these energetic principles and these levels throughout our coaching work together. This is just an opportunity to summarize some of those thoughts and help you process a little bit more of the information. Obviously, if you have any questions on what we talked about today or in this video, feel free to email or text me. You can always bring this up at another session as well. But we started our work today with this energetic self-perception chart. And what we talked about was that each of the energy levels is associated with a core thought, a core feeling, as well as a specific action or result. These were the foundational or benchmark thoughts, feelings, and actions associated with each of the energy levels. And one of the things we talked about today was that the energy levels are neither good nor bad. They just are. There's no judgment in them because there are very specific times when each of these energy levels will serve you particularly well to help you navigate through any particular situation. The ELI, remember, is an attitudinal assessment. So it gave you information about the attitudes or lenses you put on certain situations based upon your past experiences or what you're currently thinking or feeling about them. So you'll always have this chart, and you have this chart in your report, and I sent you a separate one as well. A lot of my clients like to keep this chart pretty handy. They also like this. And that's why I included it in the handout I sent you. I'm a very linear person. So for me, when I saw things this way, actually made it a little bit easier for me too. So same information, just presented a little bit differently. Now, one of the other things we talked about today was thinking about the energy levels from a thought about winning. So quickly recapping what we talked about today, at level one, you feel like you can never win. Maybe it's that person or the boss or supervisor or colleague, whenever you open your mouth, they just shut you down. You just feel like you can never, ever win with them. Level two is the fighter. It means I win, therefore you lose. At level two, it's all about making sure we get the win. In some cases, it's when we feel like we're right. We just have to get our point across. Level three is the rationalizer. I want to win, and hopefully you win too, or if you win, I'm okay with that, right? Doesn't change our thoughts about how important it is that we want to win, but sometimes situations happen and we don't get to win, but we can rationalize or look at the situation a little bit differently. Level four, the caregiver energy, is all about putting other people first, therefore they win or you win in this case. Level five is the opportunist. We all win or we don't play. Level six is thinking or believing that we always win. No matter what the situation is, we get to define what winning and losing looks like. And because of that, we always win. And at level seven, the creator behavior is just that we understand that winning and losing are all illusions. There are things that we as human beings have made up to play the game. But that in the end, it's really more about the experience we have. And the more you tap into your level seven, we talked about in your session about thriving, the more you tap into that kind of energy where you are fully immersed in the experience and you're not placing a judgment on it, the more you tap into that energy level. It might be with doing some work. It might be spending time with a loved one. It might be sitting and reading a good book, whatever that is. But it's those moments where we get to fully immerse ourselves in it without judgment. So the next thing here is for us to take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of each energy level. while it's in your handout that I emailed to you, I wanted to spend a few minutes on this video just going through this, because as you increase your awareness, I want you to understand that there are things where each energy level helps us, an advantage, or it may hold us back a little bit, a disadvantage. So at level one, the victim level, the victim energy that we talked about, the key thought here is that I lose. Now, the advantages at level one is that it protects us from harm. If we never put ourselves out there, we never get hurt. And in doing so, we may get support, confirmation, accolades from people who maybe are risk adverse, or they are just, oh, it's okay, it's all right. You made the right decision, right? So we get attention and sympathy from others. And the other part here is we don't have to assume responsibility. And that's important, right? Level one is all about protecting us from harm, protecting us from the feels, protecting us from the consequences sometimes that happen. But the disadvantages at level one, what it means is that if we never put ourselves out there, we have little to no engagement in the roles or tasks that we choose to be a part of. We also encounter great difficulty when we are trying to change. Part of our coaching work is going to focus on areas where you do want to change, be it in your life, your career, your business. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch. So sometimes level one holds us back from actually doing that. And at level one, it's also where it really is our inability to lead effectively for ourselves and for others. Think about when you don't want to have that difficult conversation, or you just don't want to deal with any kind of confrontation or conflict. It's where level one kicks in, and we just avoid that. We may have talked about that during your debrief today. And so that avoidance just holds us back from addressing those situations. Now, level two, I love level two. And I love level two because I always think of level two as like, it lets me get stuff done. When I'm trying to meet a deadline, when I'm under the gun to deliver something, like a level two, if I harness that, it just lets me get stuff done, right? Everything gets shut out or shut off, and I'm able to get stuff done. In leadership at level two, we can motivate others at level two, albeit temporarily. It may not be permanent leadership change or leadership motivation, but it can be a source of motivation. And the other part here, you'll see it in quotes, is about playing the game. Where you work, your life situation, whatever that may be, I'm sure you can equate to what playing the game really looks like, right? So there are advantages when you just don't want to buck the system or change the culture, the climate. You just keep playing the games. You're just going to move along and get stuff done. There are disadvantages, though, at level two, right? When we get stuff done, we don't bring people in. We don't support, train, or develop them. And what that means is we push them away. We alienate them from being part of that whole experience. We might motivate people based on anger or fear. Maybe you have worked with someone or currently working with somebody now where their volatility that they think is a motivation actually is a huge turnoff for you. And then there's the part about where we just get very unproductive. We get caught up in our own thoughts and emotions around what we're trying to do, and we just don't get stuff done. So keep those things in mind when you're thinking about level two. Now, at level three, the thought here is that I win and hopefully you win too. So at level three, it's a level where you persevere. You're very resilient. You won't stop until you get what you want. Remember again that the odd numbered energy levels are the ones that live in our heads. The even numbered energy levels are the ones that live in our mind, our hearts. Excuse me. Odd in the head, even numbers in the heart. Right? So another thing with level three is that we're going to block negativity. Like, nope, not going to let that in. You keep your negativity to yourself. I'm not going to let that in. And at level three, we can find really easy ways to engage people, right? Because we rationalize or understand the situation. We may not always agree, and especially in what we've seen with political climates, we may have a political difference with somebody, but we might be able to see their point of view. We might be able to understand where they are coming from. We have to be careful, though, at level 3, not to be manipulative. We never want to manipulate or persuade somebody for personal gain in that regard. Also, at level 3, as we're rationalizing, we might make some promises that we don't truly believe in. We say it because we think it's the right thing to say, but we don't really mean it. Like when you offer to help somebody, but you hope they don't really take you up on your offer. Okay. The other part is that at level 3, when you're rationalizing, you're not always concerned about doing your best. You try, you want to, but if things don't work out, you're not really concerned if it's because you did your best. You're going to rationalize that there was some other factor that contributed to why you didn't get the results you wanted. This is a big one with athletes, where they didn't perform as well, or something happened and they just try to rationalize that situation. For level 4, we talked about this a lot today. This is about the caregiver energy. It's about putting everybody else in front of you. And so at level 4, you're seen as a very caring person. You want to help every single one that you can and do the best and them for there to be the best, right? And at level 4, you take very little personally because it's not about you. It's about them. What you have to be careful of is how much you get pulled into or consumed by somebody else's drama. At level 4, where you think you're really caring about the other person, you might get in the sandbox with them. In other words, you might be really invested or involved in their own drama, whether it be the story they're telling themselves or in actual reality. You have to be careful of that. That can be a huge energetic drain. And the other one here is the motivation for being more liked than for being productive. I see this a lot with leaders who are building a team and they absolutely want to be liked, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if that becomes the primary focus and it's holding you back from driving results or having conversations you need to have because you just want to be liked, it's a great point to check in and be mindful of that. Now, at level 5 today, we talked about opportunity spotting. What are the opportunities for you right now in your life, career, business, whatever it is? And so at level 5, it is a great way to see all the different perspectives, to find the opportunities that exist in all the challenges that are there in front of you. It's where a learner's mindset may serve you really, really well as you think about all the different perspectives. And like at level 4, where you didn't take things personally, you don't really take things personally much at level 5 either. You're thinking about the whole situation, and it's never about you. It is about the situation or the circumstance, or in this case, the opportunity. But where level 5 can hold you back and hold you back from taking action is if you spend too much time researching or investigating. And the quote there about paralysis by analysis, you can research all day long with things. The question becomes, when are you ready to take action? And in the research of things, there might be a little bit of disengagement or separation from others. Or on the flip side of it, you can be so optimistic about things that you may take too many risks. And those risks may be, for the lack of a better phrase, too risky, that it might cause you some personal, professional, social, financial loss that could be really damaging in some ways. So to be careful of that as well. It's great to investigate and explore. But at level 5, we want to be careful we're not being too risky in that regard as well. So something to keep thinking about when you start thinking of these energy levels at 5, 6, and 7. Now at 6, we always win. We always win in that, right? So at level 6, we get to be empathetic. We get to be empathetic because we understand the people we're partnering with or collaborating and working with. We feel connected to them and to the experience without a lot of judgment. And at level 6, we get to channel our gut. Where's our intuition taking us? What feels right? Think about it when you're looking at potential job opportunities, or you're looking at a business decision, you're looking at a career decision, even a personal decision. How well do you trust your faith, your instinct, whatever that might be? Level 6 is a great way to access those things. Now, at level 6, some people might think you're not grounded. Maybe they think you're a little distant or aloof, out of touch. And while those are other people's perceptions, it's where you have to just be really, really clear about what's going on for you at level 6. We talked about the word thrive. We get to thrive at 6 and 7. It's where sometimes we get to feel the most connection to who we are and what we do. And so some of the advantages at level 6 might be a perception or thought that you're a high risk taker. Sometimes risks are meant to be taken, especially in our careers. I know I've taken some risks in my careers that have worked out, and others that absolutely did. It's where we get to weigh all those things out. Just be mindful about what the risk is. And then lastly, at level 7, we probably didn't get to too much of this during your session today, which is another reason why I wanted to spend some time here. Just because it's level 7, it's the highest energy level, doesn't mean it's better, but there are some really interesting things that happen at level 7. The winning thought here is that just winning and losing are all illusions. It's things that we have made up in order to play the game, as I talked about with you earlier. But the advantages at level 7 are that you can create anything you choose, whenever you choose, and as quickly as you believe possible. You might even feel like you're in the zone. I know there have been plenty of times in my career and in my business where I've absolutely felt that. I've absolutely felt that I could get booked on a podcast, find a new client, get a new speaking gig, whatever it might be. It's about accessing that level 7 energy because that's where we thrive. It's where we feel the most connection to the work we get to do. Now, the disadvantages at level 7, I'm going to start at the second one here. You may be perceived as being disconnected. Keep in mind, that's other people placing a judgment on you, right? That you may just feel like, well, they're a little bit out of touch and a little bit disconnected. Similar to level 6 and some of the disadvantages, but here is one of the other disadvantages, right? If any, there is less emotional drama as nothing is seen as real. So let me explain that to you. If you are fully immersed, if you are fully enjoying the experience, the engagement, whatever it is that you're doing, there really isn't any emotional drama. The things that we tell ourselves in our head, whether they are perceived or real, the situations that we have, they don't matter, right? Because they're just not part of the makeup about what happens at level 7. Some people have said it's where we get to be our best selves. When we're our best selves, we don't necessarily care what other people think or feel in that regard. That's important. So you could be at level 7 and accessing some of the highest levels of energy that you have. And other people may look at you and go, huh, just because they just don't fully understand how to tap into that part of themselves. In our work that we're going to do, I always come back to that word thrive. Where do you feel like you thrive? Where do you get to do your best work? Where are you the most connected? Where are you the most aligned? And what is that place where you get to come from value and service to the people you get to work with, lead, the people who hire you, whatever that may be? So that's something we will continue to talk about as we go through our work. Now, usually what happens when I'm doing the debrief is we don't get a lot of chance to talk about what the energetic shift is, and it's saved for another conversation. But I'm going to go through this with you right here because learning how to make an energetic shift is some of the most powerful work you get to do. So here's how we do it. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to assess your current energy level. So I'm going to walk through with this with you and do an example. Let's say I'm getting out on the highway and I'm driving somewhere and somebody cuts me off. Okay. My current energy level at that point might be of anger, of frustration. I might be like, oh my gosh, why were you on your phone? Why were you going so fast? Why did you change lanes without a blinker? And I might feel like I've got to get the win because I'm right, they're wrong. Because I'm the better driver, they're not. So the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine how well that energy level is serving me. Well, I know when I get really fired up, it's not good for me emotionally, right? My blood pressure might go up. I might feel all that anger, and I don't like feeling angry about things. So if I thought and believed that my current energy level was serving me, I wouldn't have to do anything. All I would have to do is just really just focus on why that energy level is where I want to be in the moment. And look, again, there's nothing wrong at level 2. Sometimes we just got to get the win. It's just the way it is. But if I want to make an energetic shift, I'm going to shift to the level that is going to serve me better than the one I am currently at. And we do that shift by shifting to the next level above or below where we're currently at. So if I'm at a level 2, I'm going to shift to level 1 or level 3. Or I'm going to shift to the next level in the head or the heart, depending on where I'm at. So there's no level 0. So at level 2, I could shift to a level 4. So here's how it would play out. Somebody cuts me off on the highway, whatever the situation is. And I decide that being angry about it isn't going to serve me because I have a responsibility to drive my vehicle and keep me and everybody else who may be in the vehicle safe, as well as the people around me. I say, well, nobody got hurt. I might rationalize it at level 3. Nobody got hurt. They must be in a rush for some reason. Maybe that text they thought was important for them to answer on the phone. By the way, I do not advocate for texting while you're driving. But in my rationalizing, I might think, well, for them, maybe it was important for them to do it. Now, if I were to shift to a level 1, that victim mentality, it would be, well, driving is just too dangerous. I'm never going to get on the highway again. That's not going to serve me. It's not going to serve me in my life or in my work. So that's not going to help. Maybe the rationalizing helps. And level 4, where I put everybody else first and they get the win. If I said, well, you know what? You do you. You do you. Whatever you need to do, I'm just not going to get upset about it. Well, honestly, that's not going to serve me either. That's just how I'm wired. But I can get to a place where I can rationalize and understand it a little bit better, or at least contextualize what the situation is. And that's how we make an energetic shift. Making the energetic shift is really just about identifying where you are and identifying if another energy level near to it or the next level above or below where you're at is going to serve you better. And as we continue our coaching relationship, we will continue to talk about an energetic shift. I'll talk with you and coach you around how's that energy level serving you. If you wanted to go somewhere else, where might that be? Why would that energy level better serve you? And we will continue to build on this skill set as we go through our work. So again, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I just wanted to share this additional resource with you. And I look forward to your next session. Talk to you later.